This is the puja of the Adi Kundalini. Is the primordial Kundalini. Can you just put it over? You must have seen in the hand of Athena, who is the primordial mother, there is a power which is a snake in the left hand. It's all right, little far away if you keep it. Yeah. Yes, it's all right. And the primordial mother has one of her powers, which we can say as the primordial Kundalini, is a part of her. Of course, she is beyond that. But she is reflected in human beings as the Kundalini. Now one has to know that to create an incarnation, a lot of work has gone into. So many things had to be envisaged. One had to have the vision that when a human being is created, how an incarnation can help him. At different levels, we had incarnations on this earth, and they were sent with a particular idea that they should achieve a particular type of ascent in that particular time. They were all part and parcel of the Primordial Mother. And they all had a very powerful Kundalini built within them. But the incarnation of this Kali Yuga is very complicated. First it had to be worked out what would be the situation in which this incarnation would be born. And what sort of encounters this incarnation would have. So the major propelling force, you can say, or the major work had to be done in the incarnation to create a very strong spinal cord so that it could bear the primordial Kundalini, which is responsible for doing this great work of transformation. Now this Kundalini, which is the primordial one, has all the powers built in of redemption, of ascent. But apart from that, to be born in this Kali Yuga one had to know what sort of people one has to face. And then how to bring them round to the understanding of Sahaja Yoga and to the understanding that they have to have their ascent. So there are many sources of energies and knowledge which are to be used, because it's a very complicated world in which the primordial Kundalini had to work. It was not a simple thing like people coming to Himalayas. They were already clean people, very desirous of getting realization. They didn't have all kinds of inhibitions and conditions and ego. They were completely surrendered, and after a great amount of penance, they would arrive. So to raise their Kundalini was not such a complicated thing. So not only that, the primordial Kundalini had to give ascent to people, but she had to also understand what sort of people are there. Why don't you take out the child? What's the matter? I think open the windows, perhaps the children are feeling hot. Normally children don't cry unless there's some problem. You have to be careful. So all the aspects of human beings, on the random movement of human beings, all their adventures and enterprises were to be understood by the incarnation. To communicate with the primordial Kundalini. And also such a person had to be a Mahamaya, so that she or he, whatever it is, has to behave in such a manner that nobody should feel frightened or should feel something distant. So this Mahamaya Swarupa had to be taken. So the Adishakti's work is double-fold. First is to know about the present, the way the people are, their cultures, their styles, their conditionings, their egos, everything, how they behave. Though the Adishakti is unaware of all these things, because she doesn't know this is human adventure. She doesn't know how far they have gone. And what do they see? What do they dream? What are their ideas? And another work is of the Kundalini. So she is divided into two parts. One is the Kundalini and another is the Sahasrara. So Sahasrara has to supply all the material, all the information to the Kundalini. And then the Kundalini has to work out. Of course, as you know very well, there are deities who are built in everywhere, in the Sahasrara also, the whole body. And they are the ones who communicate whatever has to be communicated properly. But it's a very complicated work, extremely complicated. So this primordial Kundalini acts for the collective, samashti, as well as for the individual.